This is TNC Movie Nights. We're back again with a normal episode, and just Alex in the box over there always just kills me every episode, of course. I'm Brandon. That's Alex. All right, hello. So we have a little bit more of a free form episode today. We usually have a semi-structured and kind of build off of it. Don't get me wrong, it's not going to just be random nonsense today. We do have a topic, and it's going to be a genre breakdown. We're going to do one of each for each genre. We're going to start with comedy. Thought this was a good spot for us to start. We both love comedy movies, and it's probably one of the easier ones to do realistically. We don't have to do a whole lot of, notes and knowledge to it. It's just a lot of more fun, conversational. So that'll be what we'll be doing today. But Alex, how you doing? Watch any cool stuff lately?
Doing well, man. Actually, yeah, we watched The Addams Family and Hocus Pocus over the weekend for Halloween, so that was fun. And then
nice.
A whole bunch of stuff got released, so TV's been on in our house for sure. How about you?
I just finished The Boys, season 2. Fantastic. If you haven't watched it all, it's if superheroes were in today's world, like real life, where there's an agency that pays the superheroes and they report to a CEO sort of deal, and then they're kind of corrupt, and it's hiding stuff under the rug. It's really cool, gory, very very rated R. So if you have the time, I would watch just one episode. It's one of those shows you can watch one episode, and if you don't like it, you're not gonna like it. But the first episode will hook you if you're going to be into it. So give it a shot.
It's really funny that you say it's really rated R, because I was about to say, yeah, we need a new show now that She-Ra is over. And that is like the opposite of a rated R show. Still a masterpiece. If you haven't seen it, go see it.
Yeah,
oh my God,
I definitely need to watch it.
100% a kid's show. It is like TVY7. But it is a masterpiece of storytelling and a masterpiece of just like representation and not making that a big deal. It's just such a good show.
It's good.
It's made for like 7-year-olds.
It's good when shows can do that, though. I mean, I was just talking to our buddy Mike, who's just on the show, how Foster's Home is one of my favorite shows of all time, and it's a kid show, and it doesn't matter. It's great. It's fantastic. It's a fun time. And I started watching something else too before we kind of kick in everything today. I don't know if you ever watched it, but BoJack Horseman. I just started watching that finally. I'm on episode 9 or 10 right now of the first season. Didn't care for it too much at first. I'm starting to grow on me a little bit though. I finally giving it a shot after I've loved all those other. It's not in the same area, but kind of that Rick and Morty, Family Guy, adult animated shows. I guess
Speaking of Rick and Morty, season 4 is out on like streaming platforms.
Yeah,
watching that.
Yeah, it's finally on Hulu. I started rewatching it now myself. Good time, really good time.
Yeah.
All right.
I had to wait until all of it happened because I didn't watch it when it came out. But yeah, we're watching it now. But speaking of Rick and Morty and funny things, our episode, the show that we're doing.
Yeah, I sometimes I forget. So we're gonna be talking about the comedy movie genre, and again, a little more free flow. Kind of just want to have some fun with it this episode. But Alex, to kind of just start off really simple, what is kind of a comedy movie to you? What do you like to see in a comedy movie? Just to plain and simple right there.
I actually have a very specific answer for that, because I have something that makes me love comedies or just like kind of think they're okay, and that is if they can surprise me. The best type of humor is when they set up a joke and you anticipate a punchline and then they do the exact opposite of that punchline, because like you see it in funny movies can still be funny if their punchlines are kind of predictable, and it doesn't even just have to be a true comedy. It could be like an action comedy or a rom-com or whatever. Actually, especially those mixed ones, it becomes a little bit more predictable. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean it's not funny, and that doesn't mean it's not good, and that doesn't mean it's not fun to watch. But when someone's just like, set up, punchline, and you're like, yeah, see, I thought that too, because I think I'm funny, and I think this is funny, so naturally we would both think the funny thing. But when something can just like punch you in the face with humor, and you laugh before you even like process it, it's just like, oh my God, that is funnier than anything I could have come up with. That's funnier than anything that I thought would have filled that void of
Yeah.
setup and then the punchline. And so any movie that can do that specifically, I'm hooked. It's so great.
It's
What
one of
about
those.
you?
It's one of those over the top moments of, oh yeah, I know the punchline. I feel safe taking a drink, and then just spitting everywhere. So
Exactly.
I can definitely understand that. As I want to say I mentioned before on the show, I'm a huge fan of that kind of comedy, stand-up comedy, where it's here's the path, you know you're there, right, last step, and fork in the road, complete opposite direction, but it's
Yep.
just as funny, if not funnier, because of that twist in it. For me, I do personally enjoy my comedies. I think I just enjoy my movies like this as well. But I want to enjoy it without having to overanalyze it when it comes to comedies. I can appreciate a well set up joke or something that does kind of come in later that is a little foreshadowing to comedy. That's fine. But when I'm watching a comedy, I'm there to laugh. I just want to have a good time. Your movie can be a 4 out of 10 as long as it's going to make me laugh, and that'll make it a 7 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10 because it did what it was supposed to. I don't really need my comedies to try to make me overthink and try to find the deeper meaning of a movie. Just be what you're supposed to be. A comedy. Make my tummy hurt.
Give me the tumble rumbus. But another thing that I love about like comedies like that are not just when they catch you off guard, but when they're so clever and so self-aware. Like self-awareness can turn a good movie into one of the best of all time. If you have a movie that knows exactly what it is, you get away with everything. We talked about this with serious movies and with funny movies. Like when we were talking about The Meg. The Meg knows exactly what it is. It is not a good movie, but it can be fun to watch because it knows how stupid it is. And then you watch something like what we watched last week, and there's no self-awareness. And it's like, if you just knew how bad you were, it would be totally fine. And one of the first movies that comes to mind when I think of that is actually a really weird one. It's called Rubber. Have you seen it?
Oh my goodness, the tire movie? Yes.
Yes!
Yes, I have.
For those of you who haven't seen it, it is a movie about a tire, like from a car. And it is sentient, and it has like telekinetic powers that can make people explode. But that's kind of not even what the movie is about. And that's why it's so brilliant, because it's like, this is the dumbest thing we can think of, but we thought of it, and so now we're going to roll with it. Like a tire. I'm funny. But that's it, because you're watching it and you're like, oh my God, it knows. It knows what I'm experiencing right now, and it's responding accordingly, so that way I don't just think it's stupid. That way I'm like, oh my God, this is the smartest movie I've ever seen, not the dumbest movie I've ever seen. And then couple that with comedy that you can't predict, and then you're just like, oh my God, I'll remember it for the rest of my life. And it's not even that good, but it's self-aware, and it made me laugh in a way that I didn't expect. And so here I am talking about it.
I want to say I honestly watched that movie with you in your mom's basement.
Oh my God, you did.
I think it was there, and that I feel like someone else was over too, because I could have sworn after we watched Rubber, we watched a movie called Thanksgiving. I don't know if you...
No, we watched the part that my buddy had a tattoo of. And I'm not going to say it because we try to keep this like PG-ish.
13-ish, PG.
Yeah,
PG.
we've dropped a couple of F-bombs, but like not that blatantly. But yeah, we watched
far and few between,
videos
yeah.
from like horrible horror movies, and
Yeah.
that was the scene when he ate the turkey and it exploded
Yeah.
out of him like Alien. Yeah, God, oh my God, that was at my house, wasn't it? Jesus.
It's been so long. I see where you're coming from, and again, there's a lot of different things that comedies can do. I think a big part of it kind of surprises me to say this, because I always thought a really big part of comedy movies it had to be the casting. But I've seen so many Netflix comedies of these, I don't know, 18 to like 25-year-old people their first, second, third movies they're in, or they're Vine stars in movies now. Like The Babysitter, I know it's kind of like a horror comedy slasher.
Oh, right.
Fun movie. Not a great movie.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's worth the watch if you wanted some good laughs, but it's very self-aware, and that's one thing I really appreciate about it. But it's also, they didn't get A-listers, and I always kind of had that stereotype. Well, I guess the idea that all comedy movies had to have A-listers, because I always had a really difficult time watching a comedy movie unless it had Adam Sandler, Jim Carrey, Seth Rogen, those bigger comedy actors. And
the heavy hitters.
Yeah, and because I always thought it was the actors that made it funny. But honestly, I mean, it as goofy as it sounds, it is the writing. It comes down to how well it's written, and that's what I've really started to appreciate when it comes to comedy movies, that they don't have to be on a blockbuster tier of actors. Like The Interview, fun movie. I love that movie, I really do. Has two of my favorite people, James Franco and Seth Rogen. But I've had just as much fun with, I can't think of the Netflix movie, but it's another one of those goofy college, high school movies. I don't know if you've seen it, but maybe it's three friends. They go on a vacation, and one of them loses a body appendage and has to take it to the hospital.
Oh my God, is that
I think it's like something
Seth
delivery.
Green in that?
I think he's like a side character in that movie.
Is that Without a Paddle?
No.
Okay, because you made me think of Without a Paddle for some
Okay.
reason. I saw the movie one time, like 10 years ago, and I don't know why. That's the first movie that came to mind when you said that.
No, yeah, this movie came out a year or two ago.
Okay, that's definitely not Without a Paddle.
I'll find it in a second, but it's movies like that make me kind of. It's called The Package. That's what it's called, and yeah. It's little things like that make the movies fun, and again, be self-aware when you're going to be a B movie, and they can really surprise you. So I think comedies is one of the few genres of movies that you can watch a $2 million budget movie and it's going to be awesome potentially, as long as the writing is good, and I mean, you don't need a whole lot other than that for comedies.
And that's the thing too. That's why it's so easy to overlook, because if you have good writing, it almost doesn't matter who you cast in the movie.
Yeah.
They obviously have to have like timing, and they have to be directable. They have to be an actor and not an idiot. Not that those two are mutually exclusive, but they have to be able to be on screen. But if you have really good writing, it can make up for so much. And then if you have the funniest of the funny people out there, but just garbage writing, it's not going to hit, because everyone sees that. It's that like punchline. Okay, everyone knew where you were going with that from a minute and a half ago, and it wasn't funny then, so why are we here? You just wasted a minute and a half of my time. But if it's like and you're like, oh my God, that's the funniest thing ever, because everyone selfishly thinks, it's not even selfish. You think you're funny because you're the funniest person in the world to you, because you are the only one with your exact sense of humor. So naturally, things that you think are funny because that's how your brain works. So if someone else can be funnier than the funniest thing you can think of, oh my God, you're going to remember that forever, because it's the funniest thing that could possibly happen. And then it's funnier than that. And you're just like, all right, I have to give you credit. That was funnier than anything I could have come up with. And so that's why I love that so much. But I have a question for you.
Yes.
This can be a little divisive, and I think I know the answer. Are you a fan of slapstick?
If it's done right, yeah. I'm not a huge fan of a bunch of like dick and fart jokes for an entire movie, and it's funny for me to say that because one of my favorite comedies is Jay and Silent Bob, which that's all it is. Dick and fart jokes and weed humor.
Which you don't like that either.
I know, and I don't like any sort of weed stuff either, and I'm like, why is this movie the funniest movie I've ever seen? And
Same with James Franco and Seth Rogen.
I
That's just
know.
like dick fart joint.
I know. I
Whatever works, man.
And sometimes that comedy is really good, but it's about the timing when it comes to that comedy. It's not about the punchline, really. It's not about the direction. It's about just straight up the timing. And if the timing is correct and kind of catch us off guard at times, that's all you need when it comes to slapstick.
Totally. And pretty much all just physical humor, too. Like,
Yeah.
if you think of Jim Carrey, he's probably, like, one of the better, like him or not, he's one of the better, like, physical comics.
Oh, yeah.
Physical comedy actors out there. You're not going to get any deep, sarcastic monologues out of him. It's mostly just going to be like, watch this gangly man fall down. But he does it well, and most of the time it's funny. And then even, like, God, Abbott and Costello and, like, the Three Stooges and stuff like that. That old sort of, look, they're messy and they fell. Even that's funny, because it is. Some of that stuff just makes you laugh. And then you watch some people fail at it, and you're like, God, it is really easy to do this poorly. When you see one of those crappy shows with, like, the super predictable jokes and the really bad delivery, and then they literally fall on a banana peel, and that can be the breaking point for you. You're just like, I'm done with this movie. You weren't funny with the farts. You weren't funny with the knock-knock joke. Now you think you're going to be funny on a banana? Get out of here. But done well.
Now, I'm going to toss it over to you after I say this. What movie, what style is something that you really don't like that a lot of people do like, as I've mentioned before, myself, Elf, and also, stick that under the rug real quick, Abbott and Costello and Three Stooges. I've never liked it. My dad,
No?
I bought my dad every single Abbott and Costello DVD. Every single one of them.
Oh,
I've given them a shot. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't really do that. And another thing I can't do is dry, deadpan humor. Awkward humor. I just doesn't do anything for me. How about you, though? Is there a type of comedy, humor, or even just movie? Like, if you want to throw a little bit more at me, too, please take the stage.
yes. I hate generic, predictable sitcom humor. I hate it. It is so awful. And then they have either the laugh track or the live audience, and they just throw up the laugh sign, and then they laugh, and you're like, no, you don't deserve that, because that wasn't funny. You don't just get to bad setup, bad punchline, then make 40 people laugh, and then just get to be a comedy. You're awful. Like, one of the worst shows on the planet is Last Man Standing. I hate that show so much. I hate it. It's so not funny. It's just not. And Tim Allen sucks ass. He's such an ass.
I love you so much now.
Why?
I was just crapping on Home Improvement and Last Man Standing within the last week in Discord because I hate Tim Allen.
Tim Allen sucks.
He's terrible.
He's such a dick, and he's not even funny. He's just an ass.
Thank you.
That's it. End of story. He's not funny. He's not fun. He's not charming. He's just a dick. That's it. And then he thinks that's funny. Like, he still does stand up, and he will go out there, and all he'll do is just talk about, like, how awful the world is because of liberals. And it's like, even if you believe that, that's not a joke. That's not humor. You can't just go up and be like, liberals, right? Trump, right? I'm waiting for you to laugh. No, because you didn't say a joke. You're a comic. Your whole job is to tell jokes. Story form, joke form, straight one-liner form. Pick something. Pick a medium, man. But you can't just be a dick on stage for 40 minutes and have people laugh at you. And then you look at, like, I guess the golden age of Tim Allen, like the early 2000s when he was in all those kids movies that he hated,
Yeah,
which is
Santa.
which that's yeah, that's funny to me is that he was in the Santa Claus and he hates kids, and
Yeah.
he says that he was just sitting there like chain smoking, yelling at kids for like 5 years. That's funny.
Yeah.
But Home Improvement's fine because it was dumb and it had other people in it. But like
Yeah.
Last Man Standing thinks it's clever, but it's really just a really poorly written, unfunny sitcom. And there are so many of them out there, and it makes me mad because they think they're succeeding. It's that same thing. We've talked about this before. When movies are like, haha, it's that Fast and the Furious thing where it's like, check this out. And you're like, no, this is awful. And then Last Man Standing is like, haha, right? And you're like, no, it's not a joke. You're not being funny. You're just a dick. And so it's that sort of thing. And I don't want this to be the Bash Tim Allen episode, but I'm glad you hate him too because he sucks. But it's
goodness.
that sort of humor where it's like, did like 4 dudes in their 50s just chain smoke in a bar and write the crappiest one-liners they could on napkins and then try to figure out how to make an episode out of it? Or are you actually trying? And that's what makes me appreciate that humor that does catch you off guard even more, because to flip it, like I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I get how that's not everyone's thing.
Yes.
But that writing is so funny to me because I could tell people cared.
Yeah.
Because they gave you the setup, and
There's
then my
so
brain
much
went,
setup
"Here
at
comes-"
times too.
right? And then my brain goes, here goes the punchline, and then it's not that, and it's funny. So it's like, kudos to you. Same with Rick and Morty. It's even more absurd in season 4, and I'm only like halfway through it. But we just watched the snake episode.
With the whole,
But-
have you seen? They go to an alien planet. Have
With
you
snakes?
No.
Well, they kind of go to alien planets a lot. I'm gonna need you to be just a little bit more specific.
They're flying a ship.
Again, need a little bit more specific.
They leave summer on the planet.
No, have not seen that
Okay.
one yet.
When you get to that episode, please let me know.
I will.
Thank you.
But shows like that, whether I like them or not, in this case I do, but whether I like it or not, I can appreciate the humor because it's funny. And it's not just funny, but I can tell someone tried. It was well-written humor. Whether it's for me or not, whatever, that becomes a personal thing. But when it's well-written, it's great. When it's just like the Fuller House, Last Man Standing, just throw it on the air and see what people like, and then we'll put that in the time slot. It's like, just go away. You're not funny. You're not anything. You're just on TV. You're just noise in the background while people are doing dishes, and you're proud of that. So that is my least favorite type of humor. Not to go down like a 12-minute Tim Allen thing to just tell you I don't like bad sitcoms, but that sort of humor. And then that can kind of bleed into the movie genre too. It's not as prevalent because it's not as like laugh track live studio audience-y, but that sort of like character opens the door, huh? And then they pause for the laughter, and then someone goes, huh? And then they pause for the laughter again. And I just described like 40 episodes of like 100 different shows where it's just like door opens, clap, ha ha, and then laughter. Fill in whatever episode you want because you're right. But I just can't stand it. It's so lazy.
It kind of
least favorite other than Will Ferrell.
kind of just on the sitcom side, sitcom movies, it's just so overplayed because it was such a big thing, I want to say in the early 2000s, and they still do it in movies, of the guy wants to have, like the father wants to have sex and then the mom doesn't want to. It's like him like chasing around all the time, like, come on, let's have sex, like that kind of stuff. Never cared for it. I was going to say one show, because there's a lot of really crappy sitcoms out there. One of my favorite, though, because it's kind of a flip on that, and it's just, if you've seen it, Married with Children. It's one of.
I did not like that show.
That's fair.
I get it, though.
It's a guilty pleasure of mine, and I get why people don't like it. But I just love that they kind of, and it was before the whole big genre of it, they kind of flipped it on the head where the husband just hates the wife and the wife just wants the attention. Like, I thought that was so many other shows I've seen over time are on the opposite, but I've never been a huge fan of that, trying to make fun of that, I guess. I don't know, because it's been overdone so much, I just lose so much interest in it. Yeah, the first time I saw it, I was like, haha, that's funny. And then 60 other sitcoms did it, and I'm like, oh, okay. I get it. It's okay.
And the further and further you go back in time, the more and more rapey it gets.
Yeah.
You're just like, that's just like super not cool. Not only is that not funny, that's just like wrong.
Real creepy.
And nowadays, people try to be cute with it, like, I have a headache. She has a headache. It's like,
yeah.
Wait, that was the joke?
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me? So yeah, I'm right there with you with that crap.
Yeah, so that's one of my big things for sitcoms, movies, just in a general sense. I don't like Will Ferrell. I'm sorry. Really, there's a couple decent movies with him, but...
I get it. He can be kind of divisive.
Yeah, and like I've said, it's so weird because the reason I don't like him is he's a grown man, 35 to like 50, doing the same thing, same role all the time. I'm a man who's kind of a child, but then I love Adam Sandler. I don't know.
Hey man, you don't have to defend yourself. It's just some stuff hits and some stuff doesn't. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Like I like some things that for all reasons I should not, but I just do. Like The Big Bang Theory. It totally falls into that. Like, huh?
Oh yeah.
That
100%.
sort of model. But I like it. It's funny. It's fun and it's smart and not just in the sciencey way.
Yeah.
But also that is a nice thing instead of just like, check out this old fat guy being a dick for 22 minutes. And check out his abrasive yet caring wife for 22 minutes. And their 3 children who are sometimes in the house or other times on their own little B-plot adventures.
Hey, don't make fun of Family Guy.
I just made fun of like 11 shows.
Family Guy, American Dad.
Like,
yeah,
Family Guy, Family Matters, Fresh Prince. And I love the Fresh Prince, so I don't want to make... I'm going to take that one back. But like Malcolm in the Middle,
yeah,
Married with Children,
The Middle,
Full House, so many shows. But some of them work, some of them don't. That's just what it is. Same with like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
I didn't like Reno 911. Granted, it's different humor.
Yeah.
But same sort of like copy humor, I guess. Yeah, I guess some stuff just sticks, some stuff doesn't really. That's the beautiful thing about comedy is that you don't have to defend your answer. It's like, why do you like it? Because I think it's funny. Well, I don't. All right, well then don't watch it. That's the end right there.
If you could give me 2 actors maximum that could just be in every comedy for here on out, because you believe, and like I mentioned earlier, it's not always just the actors. There are some great movies with no-name actors. It would be like you and me starring in the movie, and it's hilarious still. But if you could have 1, maybe 2 people just carry out movies. Here, actually, give me 1 that'll be like he'll always be the main person on the side, but then also give me a bromance type of thing that you'd love to see.
God, that is tough. So many. And I feel so bad because we're going to record this and then I'm going to see something on Netflix and like either today or tomorrow. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so much better. Why didn't I say that? I don't know, man. I guess I can think of 2 guys whose sense of humor I respect so much because they're very, very clever. And I appreciate the clever sort of quick-wittedness. And I also really appreciate committing to a bit. It just... someone who takes it too far, but not too far, like way past when the joke needed to end, but up to right when it should end. I love that. And a couple of names that pop out in that very specific bubble of answering your question without feeling bad about myself, of like funny, smart, quick-witted, and commit to a bit. I can think of like Paul Rudd and like Steve Carell. I respect those guys a lot for their sense of humor. So I think I might use them as placeholders for that answer, but I don't feel great about it. What are yours?
Okay, so real quick, Will Ferrell. I'm sorry. It's another actor.
We get it. You don't like Will Ferrell.
No, that's not who I was actually mentioning. There's another actor that everyone loves and I just hate. Steve Carell.
Really?
The reason why is because the comedy I hate is that awkward comedy, making you try to feel awkward, and he does that in so much stuff. The Office, what was it? Date Night I saw, Dinner with Schmucks. He's that. It's funny because he doesn't understand, like.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either.
And
so I totally get that.
I just feel like that's always his thing, like Knocked Up. Every movie like that I can really remember with him or show or anything is, haha, that guy is really socially awkward and doesn't understand how to talk to people. That's funny. I just don't get it.
That's true. I appreciate them so much because of the blooper reels of their movies.
Okay.
Because that's some of the funniest things I've ever seen. And when Steve Carell is just being Steve Carell, he is hilarious. Same with Paul Rudd. Go watch the bloopers for like Role Models. Go watch them for Anchorman for both of them. The movies themselves might be just utter turds, but the blooper reels for them are so damn funny because it's them just being funny. It's them getting to be clever without the script, or them getting to just be quick-witted and have a funny retort. And it's also really funny to watch Paul Rudd fail at that, because you can see the gears in his brain turning when he's trying to be like improv funny, and most of the time it lands and it's really funny. But when it doesn't, he'll be the first one to say that. I remember there's a couple of different times, but one blooper that sticks out is an Anchorman blooper when he's describing the Sex Panther cologne, and he like kind of fumbles over his words, and then he says something that's not really that funny. He's like, I took that long to come up with that. And it's like, yeah, he gets it. It's the self-awareness. It's the clever, quick-witted, all of that stuff. Or like one of the blooper of Steve Carell's audition for Anchorman when he is pantomiming himself eating the garbage burrito. Funnier than anything in that entire movie. And it's just because it's him just being funny. Or like interviews with them are always great, and they just seem like really cool dudes. Like the type that you would just hang out with and then just laugh your ass off all night because they're just so damn funny. But I get not liking that because I don't like that either. Which is another thing that I don't like about comedies, is when they just like fall into these tropes that happen in every freaking movie. And also when they try to like add in like tension and drama with just crap. Like stupid tropes. Dinner for Schmucks was a great example where you're just like, all of these things would never happen in the real world, and it's going to take up the next 35 minutes of this movie. I have to deal with this tension in this movie over this arbitrary nonsense that I've seen in 40 other movies, and I'm already tired of this. But I have to deal with it because it's the whole freaking movie. So I don't like when movies do that either. Dinner for Schmucks is not that great. Bloopers are hilarious, though.
Anchorman is one of the most difficult movies for me because I gonna miss his last name, but David Koechner. I really like him. I think he's funny. He's the bald guy with the hair right here. He's just, kind of plays the same guy in every movie. I think he's really funny. Paul Rudd's in it, amazing. And then you have Stephen Carell and Will Ferrell. And it just tears me apart, that movie, because I hate that movie, but then I love that movie, the whole movie. And it's just this really difficult time for me.
You just described that movie perfectly, though. And that happens with a lot of Will Ferrell movies, I think, where it's especially Anchorman. And just when you have a cast like that, where you're like, most of this movie doesn't land for me, and I kind of don't like it. But the 3 times that it did, I cried laughing. So it's like, I don't know if I like it or not. I don't know if I like you or not. I don't know if I think this is funny or not. Because the rest of it is just stupid, and I don't like it. But my God, I am wiping the tears out of my eyes 3 whole times. Like the stupid leek and celery jokes. Where you're just like, This movie is awful, but I'm crying laughing.
Oh, that killed me. Oh my goodness. If you're coming from TikTok to this video, hi. And wow. That killed me. Absolutely killed me, that movie. Good time though. Really good time.
Well,
so
part of it.
Yeah. The actor I want to see in every movie I possibly can when it comes to a comedy. It's so weird. When I was starting to say this, another person popped in my head, Dave Franco, but it wouldn't be Dave Franco. I want to see him as a supporting character all the time. But Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen to me is, I love him. And the funny thing is, how I said a bromance, I have a romance I would like to see in every comedy movie, though. And I'm such a hypocrite. I'm such a hypocrite because I hate awkward humor. But Aubrey Plaza is one of the funniest people on the planet. She does it so well. And I love Aubrey Plaza. She's fantastic.
I genuinely don't know if she's doing a bit or if that's just her. You see her on interviews and you're like, are you still in character or are you just being you? You're either the best actor or you don't act because that's just who you are. Either way, bravo, because it's hilarious.
It is, and she's fantastic. I don't know how many times I've gone through, watched like 45 minutes or an hour just long of the interview compilations of Aubrey Plaza because she is just phenomenal. But I would love to see her in romances. Give me like a Marvel Cinematic Universe of 9 movies of Ryan Reynolds, Aubrey Plaza, please. I think that dynamic would just be incredible.
Wait, Ryan Reynolds or Seth Rogen?
Ryan Reynolds with Aubrey Plaza, and then I want to see Seth Rogen as like starring in movies, and these two to be like romance sort of movies because
that would be funny.
It'd be such a weird dynamic, but Ryan Reynolds feeds off other actors, I think, so well that he would just pull off Aubrey Plaza in such a great way. Oh, please make it happen. But
he's like the yes and king.
Yeah.
Where God, he's another one. Damn it! Now he might. I don't know. He's so funny.
Yeah.
And the bloopers are great. That's basically. I keep talking about bloopers, but they're often the funniest parts of the movie, and that's why they're not in the movie. And so we're talking about comedy, and you're talking about people. Those moments where it's like that's not Deadpool saying that. That's Ryan Reynolds saying that, but that is still funnier than what Deadpool said. And so, God, he's hilarious. And another just seems like a super cool dude. You're just like, I just like you, and you're funny, and I like your movies. Sign me up. Whatever you're in. Free guy, I'm in.
Do you have any actors out there that, comedy actors that kind of just fell off the face of the earth that you wish were still relevant, still made big blockbuster-ish movies?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
It's a weird one.
Okay.
I think, and this feels weird saying it out loud, I think David Spade in his prime was hilarious. Actually, this doesn't answer your question because I don't want to see him in any things. Because it's like, you had your time, you were really funny.
Yeah.
You were in really funny movies, and now it's over. So let me think about that. You answer this. And then let me think about that because that's a really good question.
So I just want to check what this actor has been doing because I'll be honest, I have like 2 or 3 of them that I just love, and I wish they were in more stuff.
We're talking still alive, right? Because I thought David Spade and like Chris Farley, but he's dead, so he can't exactly just be in another movie.
So I have 2 actors. Don't get me wrong, like, I don't think either of them are completely done, but it's probably been a good 5 or 10 years since they've been really in the constant movie scene. And one of them for me is Sean William Scott from Role Models, American Pie. I really like him a lot because he's just dumb funny, but you love him. Like, you just love him as a character in the movies because he's, I don't want to say like a brain dead character, but just something about him. You just love that type of character at times. And then the other one for me, he kind of just, I feel like, disappeared off the face of the earth from movies, because I think he's directing now, I think. But Michael Cera, huge fan of Michael Cera. And again, me being hypocritical,
so weird.
awkward, funny, but there's something about him. And it's movies like Scott Pilgrim and Superbad, though, where it's just the way he says stuff is the funny part. It's not, he could say the most boring sentence in the world, but just how he says it, that soft tone and just kind of like hesitant. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's great.
Except in This Is the End, when he flipped all of that on his head and was hilarious.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Alright, who are yours?
So I had to cheat a little, and I hopped on the Googly Goo. On the Google, where we also are. NerdJammers.com. And so a couple of them that I got. Okay, I'm just gonna say names. So Jack Black needs to be in more things, because he is just fun and lovable and funny, and it's a shame that he's only in like a movie every couple of years, because he's just a delight. Another one who deserved the sort of like outcast status that he had for a while was Mike Myers.
Okay.
The Austin Powers movies are hilarious. I love them so much, and I can't explain why, because they are not clever, but they are self-aware enough to just get me, I guess. But God, I remember being in my dorm room and being too lazy to change, like, to make the decision to pick a new movie, because I had like 200 DVDs in my dorm room, and I had one of them was the box set of all 3 of the Austin Powers movies, and so I just kept it on my desk, and I would just keep flipping through, and for like a month straight I watched them all over and over every day, because they just never got old to me. And then he made The Love Guru, and people were like, you can go away for 20 years.
Yeah.
And that's a fair punishment, because that movie is unwatchably bad. But I think it's been long enough, so I think it's time for him to come back a little bit and not just make an SNL character movie, but to just let him be funny. Maybe just, I'd like to see it. I'm curious about it. And he's done a couple of things here now. You know, he hasn't just not been in movies. He was in Bohemian Rhapsody, and he had a bit part in Inglourious Basterds, and he does like bit part stuff like that right now. But I'd like to see him with the range just one more time to see if the Love Guru was the fluke, or if like the Austin Powers and Wayne's World stuff was the fluke.
Yeah.
Another person I think is hilarious that I wish we saw more of is Tina Fey. She is hilarious, and her and Amy Poehler were like the top 2 people in Hollywood for like 5 good years. It was fresh off that the Weekend Update SNL stuff, and then right into like 6 movies, and like 2 of them were decent. But she is a genius comic and a writer, and so it's just like, if you have her on the team, I'll probably like the team, because she's just that funny. So that's my very long-winded, non-committal answer to your question that I probably will change my mind 50 times before we record our next show.
Another one I just want to throw in there, because I want to mention it because I love the few movies he was in, is Dane Cook. I know he's not really an actor, but Good Luck Chuck, Employee of the Month, My Best Friend's Girl, and Waiting. I loved those movies so much growing up, and I feel the hate coming off of you right now.
Not hate. I can't decide. I've handcuffed enough of this episode. You take this one, and then I'll give you my opinion.
So it really just comes down to, he had some, to me, Employee of the Month and Waiting, I thought were just really fun movies. Good Luck Chuck was kind of that typical, I don't know, like hormonal teenager movie is the best way I can really put it. Really over the top, and I get why he's really hasn't been anything lately. He's just, I don't know, he's kind of just disappeared, it seems like. But I would love to see an actor kind of take that role, even if it's maybe not him to return, but someone to kind of become what Ryan Reynolds and Dane Cook were before Dane Cook went to nothing and Ryan Reynolds became one of the biggest actors ever.
Crazy that difference, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like
honestly.
their paths merged and then went separate ways.
Because they were in such similar movies. I mean, they're both in Waiting, Employee of the Month, Adventureland. Like, that was kind of all the same. You know, what was that movie where Ryan Reynolds is in a bodysuit the whole movie? That's kind of just in that whole...
I don't remember.
Yeah, I cannot think of the name of that movie. Let us know in the comments, please. I cannot think right now. But yeah, I love that self-aware actor. Like, he knows or she knows they're getting into this movie to play themselves. And I love that. It's really cool. And hopefully, you know, they can take that next step to get away from that eventually. Or become Dane Cook. Which is really sad because, God, I love Dane Cook. Love him
that's the
so
thing.
much.
I did, and then I didn't, and now I don't know because I laughed so hard at some of his stand-up literally when I was 12.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's who finds that crap funny, is 12-year-olds, which I happened to be at the time, so it was great. And then, as I got older, he was just the loud douchebag who just screamed things and wasn't funny. And so I was like, oh, well, you're just a loud douchebag now. But then I really liked him as an actor. And I was like, you know what? Stand-up comic Dane Cook, not a fan anymore. Actor Dane Cook, pretty funny and not a douchebag. And then hearing some stuff that happened in his life, it kept teetering on, I hate you and you're a dick, and then I feel sorry for you and I empathize with you. So I don't know. He's this weird sort of like shadow creature where it's like, depending on the time, the day, whether the moon is full or what socks I have on that day, it's like I might think what he said is hilarious, or I might just want to straight up punch him. And I don't know why. He's just kind of that guy for me. Is anyone like that for you? Where you're just, other than like, I guess, Will Ferrell, where you're like, sometimes I want to kill you, but other times you kill me with that joke?
I'll need to think about that a little bit. I'll think about it and I'll let you know. I just want to mention that Dane Cook starred in a movie in 2019 that came out called American Exit. It's a very serious movie, apparently. And if you can guess the Rotten Tomatoes score for the audience rating, I don't know. I will figure something out. But if you can get it.
Here's the deal. Mm-hmm. The viewers don't know this. We play this game a lot. Where you say, bet you can't, or can you try? And I think, I'm going to pat myself on the back here. I think I'm a pretty damn good guesser. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, and it's also when I say stuff like that or you say stuff like that, it's going to be the complete opposite of what we would expect.
Exactly.
Because if I ask you,
if you were just like, hey, what do you think the Rotten Tomato score was at? I would just pick out a number for some movie that I didn't know the name of, who had no promotion. But if you were like, if you can tell me, you build it up, and that's usually where I get half my guesses from. So that's where this is coming from. I don't know why I'm using my shoulders so much, but a number popped into my head when you said that. And
okay, here, if you get it within 5% on either side, I will watch any movie that you would like me to, and I will do my own review on it. Whether it's an article or I'll do an article and then I'll do like a read for it as well.
I'm gonna make you watch Doolittle again. No. All right, here it is. 94.
What?
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Did I get it?
You looked it up. You looked it up.
Swear to God. Swear to God. You saw my eyes the whole time. My hands were here. What is it?
94%.
I'm the best guesser in the world. Oh my God! See, I was so hoping it would turn out this way because you had that whole build up, and I was like, 94 just popped into my head, and I need to talk about how we play this game all the time and how this is often how it turns out. Oh, I feel like such a genius. I'm not. I just got lucky, but for some reason, 94 popped in my head.
I mean, don't get me like for the way I built it up when I said the 5%. I had a feeling you'd probably say about 90, but the fact you just guessed it right on the nose and you really didn't look it up, that pisses me off. There's actually no Rotten Tomatoes score for it. There's only an audience score, and it is 94%.
That's amazing.
So go ahead and give me any movie you want. I have a recommendation for you to give me because I need to watch it again. Austin Powers. So possible.
Ooh.
Think about it. Let me know. Like I said, I'll watch it. I will do my own review on it, write an article, and do a little post.
Well, you
for
don't
it
have
as
to
well.
write an article.
Oh no, I would like to. More content. It'll be fun.
Fair.
Yeah, it'll be a little more fun thing.
I cannot believe that just worked.
Wow.
I don't think we can do any better than that. Tell the people where they can find us, Brandon.
This is our last episode. So yeah, we'll go ahead and end it there on that note.
Oh man, that's killer.
This was a fun time. We broke down comedy movies, what we like. As you guys saw, it's much more free-flowing this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments if this is something you would like to see more often of us kind of just hanging out, chatting about different topics of movies rather than kind of going over a structure. But yeah, if you want to check out more of our stuff, it is thenerdchambers.com. We have all our shows on there. We have TNC Movie Nights. We have the Nerd Chambers live podcast. We have Commander and You, our Magic the Gathering show, which is doing phenomenal right now. We also post our YouTube videos on there for Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, our streams, everything. There's a lot. There's really a lot of content we're doing now, and we really appreciate everyone for sticking with us. We finally hit 200 likes on Facebook. That feels fantastic.
Yeah.
And we're really hoping we can keep pushing and, maybe get close to 300 by the end of the year, maybe 500. Thank you so much. It's to everyone out there that's listening and watching. If you have the time, subscribe, follow us on any social media you'd like. Also, hey, if you really want to support us, it really means a lot to us. We do have shop.spreadshirt/thenerdchambers. If you want to pick up a merch, I got the TNC Penguin shirt. We have Alex over there with TNC Movie Nights. Those are such cute logos. I love them so much.
Like tie-dye, baby.
Hell yeah.
Great.
Alex, anything else for the people before we go?
I got nothing, man. Send us home.
All right. It's been another episode of TNC Movie Nights. Again, thank you so much for swinging by. We appreciate it. I'm Brandon. This is Alex. Bye-bye.